Hello everyone, welcome to 2020's channel updates here in February. Should be going up February 1st. I usually like to do at least one of these a year, maybe two of them if we're lucky. But I kind of wanted to it's kind of a video for going over things that are happening with the channel, what my thoughts are, things that have happened recently, and things that should be happening in the future. So let's go ahead and just go down the list I have in front of me. And so what we have is the active stuff that's still going on. So starting with Final Fantasy XIV, I'm still in the middle of the expansions for that between Heavensward and Stormblood as I speak. I'm about a month ahead on all the stuff I do compared to what I upload to the channel. I have a bunch of videos kind of sitting there waiting to be published because I do upload once a day. So it does kind of get a backlog. So at the moment, I'm like exactly in the middle of the patches between Heavensward and Stormblood at the moment, and that's going to be continuing on. It's actually one of my two most uploaded things at the moment. Mostly because it's winter here at the moment, and I've been able to have more comfortable time voicing my recordings, not in blazing heat where I need my fan during the summers and whatnot. So it has been I've been pretty happy with that. Yeah, we'll definitely be continuing that for the future. I'm hoping to be able to get into Stormblood this year. Pretty sure I will be able to. Hopefully be able to finish that this year. I don't know if I'll get the Shadowbringers or not, but perhaps. We'll see. The second one is Elder Scrolls Online. That's my other second really active one at the moment. We're just getting done with East March at the moment, and I still have to start on the Rift, which is the last zone for my factions set of zones, and then we'll be going to do the base game's main storyline, and that has a zone attached to it as well when you get there to the end of it. So I'm sure we'll get that done with, and perhaps be able to start on some of the DLC that's in between the base game and the Mormon expansion. Maybe we'll get to the Mormon expansion by the end of this year, hopefully. There's actually, I think, the fourth expansion for the game coming out this summer. Greymore, I believe it is, which is going to be a Skyrim-based one. So that's kind of funny. I'm still, like, way behind on everything with this game. But, moving along with that, third one I have listed here is Rift. I haven't really done any Rift videos recently, but I did actually do about 5 of them that I have uploaded. Haven't published them out yet. That should be going out in February. Really hoping to kind of try and get through this expansion this year, perhaps, or get through a whole lot of it. I'm pretty much exactly at the middle point for it, and the leveling with the game is just sort of weird. It's probably my number one problem with it, is that I'm always about 2 levels behind on everything. I don't know if that's intentional with how the expansion is, where it's basically between 2 continents that you go back and forth between, or what, but yeah, right about the middle of that expansion now, and just did a whole bunch of Brevane stuff on that continent, and then I'm moving back to Duskin to do stuff on there. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the playthrough after Storm Legion. There's 2 expansions after that point, but I'm pretty sure Rift at this point is pretty much in maintenance mode, so it's kind of a coin flip for me. I could continue it. Maybe it'd be a little bit faster with the other expansions. Maybe they don't have the same kind of like 2 continent to level between kind of thing going on. But we'll see. I promise I want to get through Storm Legion though. I've been doing that playthrough for like 8 years now, and I really want to at least be able to finish that up for sure. So onward to the next 2 we have here is Trove and Tower Unite. I have those playthroughs going on. I don't upload them very often. I kind of consider them casual playthroughs where I just kind of upload every so often on them. Tower Unite particularly is kind of like, oh, if something's interesting going on, or I feel like just kind of doing a recording, it works out, because it's really kind of like a mini game instead of like, or like a mini game hub instead of being like an actual full-on game. But Trove, I'm probably gonna I might do a little bit off of recordings of Trove, just because Trove, I've been stuck on the same like quest line or something like that in regards to, I guess, shadow dungeons. I don't know. They want me to do like 100 dungeons before I can move along with that quest line. I think I'm at like 40 at this point. So I think maybe I might do those and get closer to the amount I need of 100 before recording again on that, perhaps. Just so we could kind of move on. Last couple of videos I've done, it's just been me grinding out like recipe dungeons, I'm pretty sure. So, with the last year, I started up with the no commentary playthroughs, particularly. Some of this stuff I just kind of wanted to be able to play and record and show them off, and the recording bit of it with voicing the stuff is that it kind of slows me down with some things. So I do kind of feel like some playthroughs of games I can go through without adding commentary for. People can enjoy them, and hopefully that kind of works out. I have 3 no commentary playthroughs going on at the moment. Aldevin, which is very similar to RuneScape. It's also another one that's in maintenance mode where nothing new is really going on with it. I'm pretty sure it just automates seasonal events at this point, and pretty much nothing else is happening there. The game is basically dead. There's probably like maybe triple digits, maybe just even double digits as a population, like a month or maybe weekly or something like that. Who knows? But the game plays pretty well. It's just being like MMO experience as a single player RPG, really. The dungeons in the game are set up to be able to be done in a story mode where you could solo it, so it doesn't really hurt anything. I think probably the only thing I wouldn't be able to ever do with a PvP quest, I imagine, because there's nobody doing PvP in this game. But yeah, it's really been a fun playthrough so far, even with the issue of it being basically a dead MMO. But I definitely want to kind of continue along with it. I basically already know what the finish line is going to be is when I run out of content, so that one will probably keep on going on for a couple more years, I assume. Because I think I'm only like level 20 now, and I'm pretty sure it's a level 50 game, along with the fact that there's still a lot of quests to do, skills to level up, and other things like that. So, second no commentary playthrough I wanted to talk about is Warframe. Warframe is pretty fun. It's mostly just going through planets. Every once in a while, the game throws a quest at you that seems kind of neat. Just recently finished up Jupiter and did some quests that they unlock for you after that point with the next junction. So there's a lot of stuff that basically, I guess, is storyline behind these quests, and I think I'm finally getting more towards the part of finding out what exactly is going on with these warframes and these weird voices and whatnot are with them. The Strange Dream quest and the New Strange, I think it was called, was the last one I did. But yeah, definitely heading on with that one. Not a whole lot of change with that one. Just going to be doing planets and whatnot and going through quests. I try and mix it up every couple of planets with different warframes and whatnot, different weapons. Because once you max out everything, it's kind of like you're not making any progress at all with stuff. So always want to change things out and make things different. Otherwise, I think things kind of get boring with that. But moving on to the newest one that we have of a playthrough that I believe is, if it hasn't already been published, at least one video in January, then it will be very quickly in February coming up, is Aura Kingdom. Aura Kingdom is something I played a long time ago. Probably like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. And I played it with a friend of mine that pretty much... it was not a very good game for actually doing group content with. It doesn't really... It's kind of weird in that regards to an MMO where grouping up with somebody is kind of like a really awkward experience where nothing's really syncing up, things like that. So I ended up coming back to this one because I thought it was kind of neat when I played it a long time ago. And yeah, it's kind of it's one of those Korean MMOs, I'm pretty sure, that's a lot of grinding and whatnot. I'm not sure exactly how well it's going to do towards the end game and whatnot and that, but I'm hoping to be able to go through the game and at least have a fun time with it. As I said, it's another no commentary one, so I could definitely put those up whenever I want. They're pretty much these no commentary ones are pretty good fillers for between voiced commentary playthroughs, so works out pretty nicely for that. All right, now that active stuff is out of the way, we're going to go ahead and talk about things that have kind of stalled out for me. Guild Wars 2. This is one that hasn't really gotten off the ground with me. I did like 6 videos of it, and then like never really touched the game again. I'm hoping potentially go back to this one. I'm kind of hoping to I don't know, be able to put some time aside to actually work on this one because it is a good game from everything that I've heard, and really hoping that I'll be able to get I believe it's the second expansion. I have the first one, but I have to buy the second one as well. And I don't think they've announced any more expansions in quite some time, so I think I'm doing pretty good on that. Won't have to worry too much. The next two I have on here have really kind of not been doing very well, and that's my nostalgia playthrough, which has been in hiatus for a very long time now, because I keep on playing this game through. I played through this game a couple times. I basically get stuck in the same spot each time, because it's such a mess to actually try and level up in the area that you eventually get to. And eventually I found out that the main servers that I played on, which you kind of assume would still be up at this point, because I don't assume that it'd be very expensive to really keep up like 1 or 2 servers of this game, are pretty much down. And what that means is that my save file that was on that server is gone too. The game is playable on your own server that you can play and host it yourself, so that is at least happy for that, where I basically would have to start over in the game, get up to the point where I was, and then restart recording again after that. Not a fun prospect, because I had never really found the game balanced to begin with to play solo. Some bosses are just really difficult to actually try and get anything done with in that regard. And I'll have to see where that actually goes with this one, because I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. Could replay through the whole thing on my off time and get up to the point where I was before, if I can, and then try and just brace myself to have a really bad time trying to get through the rest of the game, I guess. I don't know. It was a really good concept, I have to say. I really liked the game a lot, but I felt like the difficulty of it is like really out there. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next one here. World of Warcraft. This one I felt like I was going to have a big time with this year. I really did. I had started putting out videos again a couple months ago, or at least one. I think I put out like 2 videos, I think. And what happened there is that they end up announcing the new expansion pack for it, and I found out that it's going to be like they're pretty much crushing down everything to be you're going to start out in this area, and then you're going to be doing the second to last expansion, then the current expansion, and then if you want to play any of the further expansions after that, you would have to have alts that you could play through other expansions or something like that. It really kind of killed my mood for the game. So I'm going to be honest and probably say that I probably won't be doing anything with this one until the next expansion comes out, and I can pretty much take a guess at what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll do something like I'll probably have a character that I'll play mainly on, and maybe do different playthroughs for different expansions of other alts. I don't know. It's the only thing I've really come up with on that, because I haven't really thought about it that much. But yeah, those 3 are the ones that were kind of like the problem childs at the moment. So, moving on to the next section, I just kind of wanted to talk about what we finished in 2019, because it doesn't really feel like I finished a whole lot. But we did finish up WildStar. WildStar was a lovely MMO that I basically got through the base game of, but I didn't really have enough time to really go much farther than that. But I managed to do that entire playthrough, and definitely was a ride, I have to say. I'm actually I find it really unfortunate that it's gone. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I finished this up. I think the game actually went down I think it was like November of 2018, I think it was. I can't remember, but I finished up the playthrough of it in like early 2019, so I counted this on there. The other one is Worlds Adrift that I basically did a playthrough of in within a month's time. It was kind of crazy, to be honest. I basically heard the game was going down within I think it was like a month and a half or something like that, and I decided to make my goal of being able to go all the way to the last tier area, and I managed it. Even though basically everything was desolated by then, and there was basically nothing around, I did manage it. Did manage my goal. But yeah, that was kind of sad with that one left as well, but I can kind of understand that how janky the game was, and there was some issues with it, which were kind of unfortunate to try and play through. But yeah, those two I did finish last year. And I think now we'll go ahead and just talk about what's to come in 2020, what potentially could come. What I have on here is Destiny 2, which would probably be a no commentary playthrough. I'm basically waiting to actually go around and finish up the DLC for Destiny 1 that I have on my PS4 before I actually start Destiny 2. Destiny 2, I pretty much assume I'd have other people to play with, some of my friends to go through with, and I don't kind of like being in the situation that I am with Final Fantasy 14, where it's I kind of feel like I'm janking behind with other people that I'm grouping with because I'm only playing when I'm recording, basically, and I feel like voice recording. So that's kind of the reason why it would be a no commentary playthrough. I'm pretty sure. I haven't 100% on that one, but I'm like 80% sure it's gonna be a no commentary playthrough. The next one that could potentially come is a very old game, very old Flash game from my childhood, basically, from like my early internet times, and that would actually be wanting to do a playthrough of the original Adventure Quest, which should be a neat idea. Reason I want to commentary this one is because there's not a whole lot of pretty sure there's not a whole lot of sound to it in the first place, so it kind of would be a pretty silent playthrough if I otherwise didn't commentate through it. So even with the whole thing of Flash being supposedly being dead by the end of this year, I believe it's basically said that because the game exists in a launcher or something like that, it can still work outside of a browser and whatnot. So hoping for that one to work out. And I honestly think it'd be pretty neat to have something that's from way back when to play through. And the other thing I'm basically waiting on this one is to be able to have the money to pay for Guardianship, which I think is like a $20 fee. And will get you all the bonuses and anything additional for what the game has on it. But yeah, that one should probably come sometime this year, I assume. The third thing I have on here is potentially Temtem, which just literally just released maybe like a week ago from this recording. And that is basically the Pokemon MMO that they created, or like basically not Pokemon MMO. So kind of looking to see how this one turns out. I've heard good things about it so far, so it may end up being on my channel at some point. Be a little bit different than what I have on there so far, with it being like a RPG monster fighter type of thing. So we'll see about that one. Next thing would be Grawl Adventure. I've been kind of promising this one in these videos, I think in the last two so far. And I really want to get onto this because the way I basically want to play, I believe, Grawl the Adventure 2004, which apparently is supposed to be like one of the best versions of the game out there. And the way I have to play through it is going through another person's server basically with it and all that. And for the longest time, nobody was like hosting a server for it. And I actually was about to say that I probably was going to give up on it, but lo and behold, I checked it maybe a week ago or so, and I saw that somebody was now hosting it again. So I'm pretty happy on that. So I really do want to get on that one. It's probably going to be a no commentary playthrough because of the time restraints. I literally don't know if I'm going to have a server to play on it from day to day once I start playing it. So I do want to kind of work on that. I think people will have enjoyed some of the Grawl stuff I've had on this channel and on my main channel as well, so I think it would actually do pretty well. Beyond that, the last thing I probably would talk about is maybe bringing back the sim or survival games idea. Like maybe because the first playthrough I ever did on this channel was a Zoo Tycoon playthrough, and it did extremely well. So I have always wanted to kind of go back to the simulator type games and see how that would work out. But I also like survival games as well, and those are probably pretty good to go through as well. So maybe something like The Sims or Subnautica or Terraria, Two Point Hospital, Mermaid Colony, things like that. I don't know. I wouldn't do all of those, but I'd probably pick up maybe like one to do. And overall, I think that's about it. This has actually probably been my longest and more throughout channel update video I think I've ever done, but I kind of wanted to lay things out there and not do it off the top of my head. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the footage I put with it. Thank you guys for enjoying my playthroughs, and I hope you guys have a good 2020.